Hello and welcome to Pathfounders with me, Mike Butcher, where we like to unpack the code, the capital, and the consequences behind Europe's tech startup ecosystem. Today on Pathfounders, we're joined by Guillaume Decugis, who's a general partner of Serena Data Ventures and an investor in Emmi AI, the Linz, Austria-based deep tech company using AI to make industrial engineering simulations run in seconds instead of days. Now, the reason why we're chatting today is because in April last year, in 2025, Emmi raised a 15 million euro seed round, reportedly the largest seed round for an Austrian startup at the time. And it was tackling one of the least glamorous but most important bottlenecks in industry, which is how physical systems are designed, tested, and trusted. Now, Guillaume, you were an investor in this company, and the news out this week is that they've been acquired. Shall we unpack the story?
Yeah, happy to.
Let's get it out of the way first. They've been acquired by Mistral, the Paris-based AI company, one of the very few in Europe. And do you want to reveal how much they bought it for?
Mistral is not disclosing the transaction. It's a significant one, but we'll honor their wish to remain confidential on this.
Right. Well, obviously, it's a little bit of a roll-up. Would you characterize it as an acqui-hire?
No, definitely not. It's true that you've seen, some transactions where people are buying a team for minimal return to investors. The signal I would share is that we invested just a year ago. The team is doing fantastic. There's been a lot of validation we got from the bet we made a year ago. And quite frankly, there's a couple of reasons we took the deal so early, and the economics are one of them. I mean, as VC seed investors, we typically don't invest for just a year. We invest for 5, 7, 8, 10 years. The economics were just fantastic, but also the industrial synergies between Mistral, which is at the core a horizontal player, and Emmi, which is a vertical foundational model, are fantastic. And we're very happy to be part of this and to roll over and move forward with them.
Right. Well, I'd love to talk to you a little bit about your fund in a second, but let's just chat a little bit about Emmi. For listeners who are not engineers, what was the sort of big problem that it was solving, and how do you feel that it'll fit inside Mistral's ecosystem?
Yeah, so what I think we've all seen what AI could do to language with large language models. Our conviction as investors was that AI was also going to be applied to other formats, and physics is just one of them. And when you train AI to kind of learn the laws of physics and be able to infer from those models how physics would behave, you can do a lot of different things. For instance, you can simulate how the wind would evolve, the air would evolve around an airplane wing. You can simulate the fluids dynamics around a Formula One car, or the heat dissipation in a semiconductor. Those are all things that you cannot do with LLMs, because the language is not the human language, but it's the language of physics. That's what Emmi is doing. They're building what they've called large engineering models, which are applying AI to the physics world, which has multiple applications. And if you think about how we design airplanes, how we optimize Formula One cars, how we do crash tests in automobile, or how do we design semiconductor chips, it's all down to simulation. It's all down to understanding the laws of physics. Now, this is a field that's been existing for 50 years, but that hasn't been disrupted. And it's one where there's been a few early attempts to tackle it with AI that I think were very specialized and didn't generalize well. And so it's a bit of like, when we moved from machine learning to ChatGPT, we had this universality that we've all been, I think, the witness of. It's a bit of the same thing which is happening now with the type of models that Emmi has been building.
Right, I see. Why do you think investors care about AI for physical engineering as opposed to software and chatbots?
Yeah, so if you think about industrial companies, obviously they can use AI like any company to optimize their legal processes, business processes, or do software faster. But the core of their business is R&D, and R&D is about designing objects in the physical world. And when it takes 48 to 72 hours to simulate, again, an airplane wing or the results of a car crash, then you have to do things in a certain way. So if you're a design engineer, you're going to design something, you're going to give it to the simulation guys, you're going to wait 2 to 3 days to have the results, and then you're going to iterate that design. Now, imagine if the results of your simulation were real time. You can completely transform and change the way you're going to design things. And so we think that's the kind of technology that could change the time frame to build an airplane from maybe 10 years to 3. So this is very promising technology. And at the core, all industrial players want to apply AI to their core business, which is designing and building new products.
Okay, well, in terms of Emmi, it raised 15 million euro last year, and now it's effectively been acquired. So it's quite a quick journey. Do you feel that they could have, in your opinion, in discussions with them, and obviously your investors, in your discussions, did you come to the conclusion that it was time to take this path? Did you not feel that that the team and the company did the founding team not think that they could go further, for instance?
It's a really good point, and there was a lot of board level discussions on this, as you can imagine. The initial plan was to actually do a Series A. The company had raised enough funding, had runway for another more than 2 years, so weren't in a rush. But what happened is that we validated a number of things faster than the initial plan, which is good news. So what we realized, I mean, this company has been very good at driving the scientific part with the business part together. So when we invested at seed, they transformed the POC into a 7-digit contract, and then they signed additional customers. It's still small from a revenue standpoint. Those are good validations that those industrial players, which are moving very slow, could accelerate their decision-making process because of the type of technology and outcome that Emmi was producing. So based on this, we had decided to go for a Series A, and that was the initial plan. What happened is that even though we had some offers for a Series A, we also had non-solicited offers from several players for acquisition. And we started to think about what it meant. And as much as we felt that the team can pursue on their own, we felt that this is going to be the type of play where it's going to be a winner takes all. And there was some really compelling elements in the Mistral story. One of them was that you have the scientific advantage. Those guys have been building, thinking about this problem for ages, for years. They have a strong scientific advantage, but you have to feed that with data, and you have to feed that with proprietary data that come from your customers. The type of data that you have only when you work with the top airplane manufacturers or the top, semiconductor manufacturers. And we felt that there could be even further acceleration by combining this scientific advantage with the kind of go-to-market acceleration we can have with a larger player like Mistral.
Right, I see. So yeah, it's a kind of a vision thing, I guess. They wanted to take the vision further in this direction, especially on the research side. It sounds like. Do you feel yeah?
Yeah, it's interesting because just to comment on this, you have some very ambitious founders, and of course they could have, the initial plan was to do this on their own, but I think the name of the game for them was to do, be the leader of that space and kind of, find a way to dominate the space faster. And so that played a key role. And the economics, as I said, were the second reason we were interested in that.
In your opinion, do you feel that this is the start of a strategy that we'll see more from Mistral acquiring these smaller companies to, increase its offering overall?
Well, I can't comment on Mistral strategy, but I can say a couple of things. We're in a specific position where this is our second exit to Mistral. We actually were also a co-lead investor in Koyab, which was their first acquisition. Great company that's going to enable them to bring a lot of applications to their cloud. So they're definitely on an acquisition track. Again, won't comment on their strategy, but I think to me that's interesting to see that it's not the first time we're seeing people in the LLM space try to be more specialized. If you look at what Anthropic's been doing over the last few years, they've been specializing in agentic coding, and I think it's been a really great response to LLMs are becoming a commodity, and all of those LLMs are the same. So I think we've all been, very impressed by what ChatGPT did a few years ago. And then there's been this question of, are all LLMs equally good, or is it a commodity? And now we're seeing those verticalization, those use case specialization becoming something interesting. So, we'll see. But I think it's an interesting move.
Yes, well, it is very interesting, and it's a quick exit for them. I dare say you're probably, I presume you're happy as investors?
We're very happy. This is gonna, augur well for the trajectory of our fund. Again, the fund is we did our last closing in 23, so it's a still pretty young fund. We're still in our investment period, and this is our second exit. So yeah, it's a good outcome.
It's on. You're on your way. Tell us a little bit more about Serena Data Ventures.
Yeah, so I think we're part of this kind of new generation of VC funds in Europe that have a specialization strategy, and by that I mean that historically, as someone who comes from the founder side, I've been a VC for just 2 years, and I've been spending half of my time as a founder in the US. I think I've seen the European VC scene as historically it's been a lot of fragmented and local funds. By that I mean generalist VCs that invest locally in Paris and Berlin and London, and of course some of them now become big and have access to all of Europe, but most are still investing locally. And when we invested in Emmi, a lot of my VC friends were telling me like, hey, how did you guys connect with those with this company? We have a different approach. We are specialists. We're not generalists. We invest only in what we call infrastructure software. So this foundational layer of software that enables a lot of different tech. And by being specialists, I think it gives us an ability to identify pattern and to connect in a more meaningful way with founders all across Europe. We also are, all partners who have a background as founders. We've all been scaling companies in the US. So I think this gives us a specific angle that's helped us win some very competitive deal, like it was the case for Emmi a year ago.
Right, I see. Well, thanks very much for talking to Pathfounders, Guillaume Decugis, General Partner of Serena Data Ventures, and thanks for unpacking for us your perspective on this acquisition of Emmi AI by Mistral.